This is a list of VeggieTales original videos. Whiz God When I'm Scared. Whiz God When I'm Scared was initially released on December 21, 1993 on VHS and was distributed by Word Entertainment in 1994. It features two stories about what to do when you are afraid. Bob the Tomato and Larry the Cucumber are on the countertop of a kitchen. Evua is scared because she sometimes thinks there are monsters in her closet. Larry says he once thought the same thing, but later found out that they were actually his fluffy bunny slippers. Bob then introduces a story about when Junior Asparagus got scared. In the first segment, Tales from the Crisper, Junior Asparagus watches a scary movie called Frank-N-Celery before being told by his mother that he needs to go to bed. As he walks up the stairs, he looks at the family picture come to life with bolts popping out the necks and showing scary faces, which frightens him, causing him to run straight into his bedroom. After imagining that there are monsters in his darkened room, Bob and Larry drop in to help him. After some discussion, the pair sing a song in an effort to comfort Junior about how he does not need to be afraid because God is watching out for him and he is bigger than anything. Junior is then confronted by Frank-N-Celery, who reveals that he is really just an actor from Toledo, Ohio. Junior is then convinced that he should not be afraid and everybody celebrates by singing the song, God is Bigger. After Bob, Larry, and Frank-N-Celery leave, Junior's father comes into his room and the pair discuss how God takes care of them and how Junior needs to be more careful about what he watches in the future. The second segment is the story of Daniel and the Lion's Den. King Darius is in his court with his wise men when he confides that he is confused by a nightmare and wants help with what it means. The wise men concede that they cannot help, but then Daniel arrives and correctly interprets the dream. Daniel is then elevated to the king's second-in-command. However, the wise men become envious and make a plan to trick Daniel into breaking a new law that says that the king's subjects may only pray to King Darius. Soon after, the wise men catch Daniel praying to God and throw him into the lion's den. Daniel tries to not be afraid, but hearing the lions surrounding him and growling scares him. However, an angel comes down to comfort him, telling him that he is not alone and that God is with him. Daniel feels better and makes peace with the now tamed lions. While the wise men celebrate the supposed victory, King Darius spends a restless night, hoping and praying that Daniel's God is protecting him. The next day, the king runs to the lion's den and finds Daniel alive and well. The king changes the law so that everybody must pray only to Daniel's God and remembers that it was the wise men that tricked him into trying to kill his friend. Realizing they're in trouble, the wise men quit their jobs and flee to Egypt with King Darius and Daniel chasing them. God wants me to forgive them. Originally released in October 1994 by Word Entertainment, it features two short stories about forgiveness. In the first segment, Pa Grape is the father of a family of cranky grapes, the grapes of wrath, who regularly name-call and insult each other. While driving down the road, the family sings a song about their crankiness and meanness, before crashing into a tree stump. Getting out of the vehicle, they spot Junior Asparagus and try and figure out what he is and begin to tease him about his appearance. Junior is then helped by his dad, who explains to the grapes that it is not nice to pick on people. Junior then forgives the grapes at his dad's urging. Bob and Larry interact with the story and try to figure out how many times one should forgive. Quetty then shows the verse, Matthew chapter 18 verse 22. Jesus answered, I tell you not 7 times, but 70 times 7. Single quote. When Rosie figures out the answer to Quetty's question, The grapes ask for Junior's forgiveness and the grapes of wrath are renamed the grapes of Ma. The second segment, Larry's Lagoon, parodies the first episode of the television classic Gilligan's Island. In this story, Larry the Cucumber plays the part of the ship's first mate who crashes and sinks the ship while daydreaming, thus marooning the passengers and crew on a deserted island. Due to this accident, the passengers hold a grudge against Larry, despite his apology, which causes him to run away. However, Bob the Tomato, playing the part of the skipper, realizes the error of the ways and the group forgives Larry for stranding them. Then a palm tree named Palmy appears and congratulates everyone for the forgiveness and sings the forgiveness song. The cast is finally able to escape the island on a bamboo helicopter cobbled together overnight by the professor. Are You My Neighbor? Are You My Neighbor? Subtitled A Lesson in Loving Your Neighbor, was released in February 1995 on VHS by Word Entertainment. In the first story, Larry the Cucumber lives in the city of Flibberoloo, where everybody wears shoes on their heads. Junior Asparagus lives in Gibberdelot, where everyone wears pots on their heads. Flibberoloo and Gibberdelot fight by throwing pots and shoes at each other. Leaving the city, Larry is attacked by bandits who rob and leave him upside down in a hole. Both the mayor of Flibberoloo and a Flibbian doctor come upon Larry, but claim, in song, to be too busy to help. Soon after, Junior comes along and helps Larry out of the hole, despite the differences of the people. After seeing the kind act of a supposed enemy, the mayor decides that Flibberoloo and Gibberdelot should no longer fight. Now, instead of fighting, the two cities throw flowers and candy to each other. In the second story, Junior tells Dad Asparagus that he is not going to invite a new kid, Fernando, to his birthday party because he thinks that this boy is weird. Bob and Larry arrive in the small ship and take Junior Asparagus to the starship Applepeas, having discovered the ship is in the path of a giant meteor. Upon arriving, they discover that the power to the ship is out, while the ship's engineer frantically works to fix the ship's engines. Junior suggests that two oddball crewmen help save the ship when it is determined that the meteor is in fact a giant popcorn ball. Rocketed into space, the pair eat the meteor before it can collide with the ship. Junior and the entire crew celebrate and then sings a song about the importance of friendship despite people's differences. Junior, after being returned home by Bob and Larry, tells his dad that he has reconsidered and will invite Fernando to his party. Rat Shack and Amp Benny. Rat Shack and Amp Benny was first released in October 1995 on VHS by Word Entertainment. It covers peer pressure and encourages viewers to stand up for the beliefs. The story is told by Grandpa George and takes place at the Neza chocolate factory where the employees work hard all day making chocolate bunnies on an assembly line. In celebration of selling the 2 millionth chocolate bunny, Mr. Neza announces that for 30 minutes all employees may eat all the bunnies they want, while all break ravenously into the chocolate shack. Convinces his friends Rack and Benny that they should not gorge themselves on candy, as the mothers and fathers had taught them better. He gets little argument on this. When Mr. Neza comes out to soak up the appreciation of his employees, he finds them all lying ill, except for 3. Rat Shack and Benny are rewarded and made junior executives. The following day, Mr. Neza calls them into his office and tells them that he has constructed a 90-foot-high bunny. He believes that if the bunny were a big bunny, then all his workers would love it as much as he. To make matters worse, he also reveals the dreaded bunny song when Benny does not know the lyrics. He sings it to them, and it is revealed that the lyrics imply that nothing in the world is more important than the bunny. He intends to force all his employees to bow down before the bunny statue and sing the song. Those who refuse will be thrown into the factory's furnace like the bad bunnies. Naturally, this causes Rakshak and Benny great concern since they do not agree with the words in the song. When the time comes, everyone bows and sings, minus the three. Mr. Nezza confronts the trio and demands them to sing the song. They finally do it, but instead they sing Junior's childhood naptime song. Mr. Nezza is touched and says it was wonderfully sung, but it does not change his mind about it, so he tells the guards take them away. Meanwhile, Laura Carrot plans the rescue. Mr. Nezza condemns them to the furnace, but on the brink of their deaths he gives them one more chance to sing the song. Still they refuse, explaining that they are taught to stand by what they believe is right. Mr. Nezza understands the reasoning but condemns them as bad bunnies and sends them down a chute into the furnace. Laura Carrot rushes in and rescues them just in time with her delivery truck. Exasperated, Mr. Nezza orders the other two guards to pursue. Laura speeds into a tunnel, outmaneuvering both of them, and rushes out the other end, hoping to see sunlight. However, they appear back at their entrance instead, and two metal arms grab and capture the truck. Laura's rescue attempts are thwarted. As it prepares to dump the trio into the flames, Laura unplugs the power outlet, and the arms stop in the tracks. As Mr. Nezza threatens her, the truck breaks loose and the boys fall into the furnace as Mr. Nezza gloats manically. The electricity dims and a huge beamlight shoots straight into the furnace. Mr. Lund looks inside and notices a fourth person in there who is really shiny and no one is being incinerated. Shocked, Mr. Nezza tells them to come out. Rakshak and Benny emerge from the furnace unscathed. Mr. Nezza realizes that it is the Lord God who saved them and he apologizes for his actions. The trio accepts his apology, and when he asks how he can make up for his mistake, Shak suggests that he sing a song about the beliefs. The story ends with one such song about standing up for what you believe in. Dave and the Giant Pickle. Dave Namp, the Giant Pickle was originally released in March 1996 on VHS by Word Entertainment and issued onto DVD on February 10, 2004. The story begins in the desert near Jerusalem, where David and his brothers are tending a flock of sheep. The sheep tend to tip over a lot, which keeps the shepherds busy. Worse, Dave's brothers are constantly picking on him and making him do the bidding. The father, Jesse, comes with the news that the Philistines are attacking and that King Saul is gathering an army to face the threat. All the brothers run to volunteer, but Dave is stopped by Jesse, who tells him that big people do big things and little people do little things. So Dave must stay and tend the sheep. At King Saul's camp, the Israelites and the Philistines make a deal to end the war quickly. They agree to have the two greatest fighters face off, and the tribe whose champion is victorious shall win the war. As the Philistines are not especially big, King Saul agrees. He faints in fright when the Philistines bring out the massive Goliath. Seeing him, the Israelites run away and hide. No one is willing to fight Goliath, and the Israelites stall for 40 days. One day, little Davy is sent to the camp to deliver some food and is ashamed at the sight of his brothers and the rest of the Israelites hiding from God's enemies. Jimmy and Jerry warn Dave about Goliath, but Dave tells King Saul that he will fight Goliath. King Saul is shocked, but reluctantly grants his request, and Dave goes into battle armed only with stones and a sling. However, the battle is short as Dave slings a stone at Goliath and hits him between the eyes, sending him falling to the ground. The Philistines panic and run away, while the Israelites congratulate Dave for his victory and his faith. The Toy That Saved Christmas. The Toy That Saved Christmas was originally released in October 1996 on VHS by Word Entertainment. Grandpa George tells a bedtime story to his granddaughter Annie about Wally P. Nezzek, the owner of a toy company, who is spreading the word via television commercial about his newest toy line, Buzzsaw Louie, with a working buzzsaw built into his right arm and a trigger in his nose that makes him tell kids to get more toys. After seeing the commercial, the kids of Dinkletown begin begging the parents for more toys. Mr. Nezzek explains to his assistant that this is his plan to sell more toys, making more money. As many Buzzsaw Louie dolls roll off the production line, one of them inexplicably comes to life and escapes the factory to search for the true meaning of Christmas. On Christmas Eve, Larry, Bob, and Junior go sledding. They happen upon the escaped Louie, who asks the Veggies for help. Bob suggests that they go see Grandpa George, who reads the Nativity of Jesus from Luke. In this, George explains to the group that the true meaning of Christmas is not to get, but to give. The kids are heartened by the news, but puzzled by how to tell the rest of the Veggies before Christmas Day. Bob, Larry, Junior, and Louie decide to sneak into Mr. Nezzek's toy factory and use his television studio to broadcast a message of the true meaning of Christmas. Mr. Nezzek discovers the group and decides to get rid of them by tying them to a sled and sending into either one of the selection of tunnels when the families of Dinkletown intervene. Laura Carrot shows Mr. Nezzek kindness by giving him a gift and he quickly repents. However, the sled with Bob, Larry, Jr., and Louie is accidentally sent off through the taped-off, inaccessible tunnel. Panicking, Mr. Nezzek and several penguin workers get on their own sleds and attempt to save them. Louie is able to divert the sled's course, leaving Mr. Nezzek alone racing toward the broken bridge. Louie again springs into action and the penguins and Veggies are able to save Mr. Nezzek just as he is about to fall. The story concludes with everybody in Dinkletown, including Mr. Nezzek, getting together to celebrate a Christmas party. Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space. Larry Boy and the Fib from Outer Space was released in April 1997 on VHS by Word Entertainment and on DVD on May 18, 2004. The episode begins with Percy and his brother Lil P seeing what appears to be a comet. Jimmy and Jerry Good, who staff an early warning radar station, alert Larry Boy of an approaching alien. Larry Boy begins to search for the alien but gives up after finding nothing. The scene then shifts to Junior Asparagus and Laura Carrot having a tea party. Junior decides to take his father's prized Art Bigger Tea bowling plate for his teddy bear, saying that since it is a special bear, it deserves a special plate. While trying to retrieve it, he accidentally breaks the plate. The alien, Fibrillus Minimus, emerges and convinces Junior to lie to his dad, claiming a little Fib couldn't hurt anybody. Junior lies to his dad and claims that Laura kicked the soccer ball and broke the plate. However, Junior soon discovers that every time he lies, his little Fib grows larger and larger. He and Fib go downtown where Laura, Percy, and Lenny form an angry mob and confront him about his lies. When Junior tells a lie about alien cows coming to Earth and destroying the plate, Fib grows to be a 50-foot-tall beast who holds Junior prisoner and starts wreaking havoc and destruction in the city. Larry Boy is then summoned and is forced to pursue Fib and Junior in his Larry Mobile as Fib tries to escape by climbing to the top of the water tower. Larry Boy transforms the Larry Mobile into the Larry plane and flies into the sky. He then ejects above Fib, but he is easily grabbed by Fib, who squeezes him until one of his plunges pops out. Larry Boy is then told via radio by Alfred that the Fib can only be stopped by someone else. As the fib starts to eat Larry Boy, Alfred informs Larry Boy that Junior is the only one who can stop Fib. Junior then admits the truth about his lies to his parents, and as he tells the truth, the fib shrinks into nothing but air. Junior then apologizes to his parents and everyone else. Josh and the Big Wall. Josh and the Big Wall was originally released in October 1997 on VHS by Word Entertainment. The Israelites, having been held as slaves in Egypt, are liberated by Moses and led to the Promised Land. However, they question God's methods and are banished from Israel for 40 years. Upon the completion of their exile, Moses has died, and Joshua has become leader of the Israelites. Joshua leads them back to the Promised Land, but the city of Jericho stands in the way. The Israelites are then met by the defenders of Jericho, who taunt them from atop the city's great walls. Joshua tries to explain that God has given this land to the Israelites and that therefore the defenders will have to step aside. But the Israelites are instead met by more insults and smug jeering. When a slushie falls off the wall and hits Jimmy on the head, Joshua decides that the Israelites should fall back and regroup. At night, Joshua meets the commander of the army of the Lord, who tells him how the Israelites are to take Jericho. They must march around the city once a day for 6 days. On the 7th day they are to march around it 7 times, blow the horns, and all scream as loud as they can at the same time. At this point, the messenger states, "The walls of Jericho will fall." Joshua reports this to his team the next morning, but the rest of the Israelites have ideas of their own. Pa Grape wants to go back to Egypt, and Jimmy and Jerry plan to attack the wall with a giant rocket they just constructed, and the Israelites applaud. Eventually, they agree to try God's way and proceed to Jericho later that day. While marching around the walls, the Israelites face more trouble. The city's defenders insult them all the more, turning the taunts into a choreographed musical number, while Joshua and the agitated Israelites try to ignore them. Unfortunately, the taunting turns to a super semi-frozen battle when the Jericho defenders use slushies as the weapons to attack the Israelites, forcing them to retreat. The end of the day finds the drenched and desperate Israelites on the verge of rebellion, while Joshua refuses to quit. At this point, Junior, one of the Israelites and the co-narrator, intervenes and convinces them to continue with the plan. He says that God's way always works out in the end. The Israelites agree to stick with the plan, despite more slushy attacks and taunts. On the 7th day they blow the horns and scream. At first, nothing happens. The Jericho Peas laugh, but then the walls collapse under them. The Israelites continue their journey towards the Promised Land. Madame Blueberry. Madame Blueberry was originally released in early 1998 on VHS by Word Entertainment and features a story about being grateful with what God gives you. In a takeoff of the story of Madame Bovary, Madame Blueberry is rich and lives in a sparsely decorated tree house. Though her butlers attend to her every whim, they find themselves unable to lift Blueberry's spirits. The only happiness she seems to have comes from photographs of her neighbors' possessions. One day, a trio of salesmen arrive at Madame Blueberry's treehouse to promote a new local megastore, saying the store has everything Blueberry needs to be happy. Though Bob has his doubts, Blueberry eagerly follows the 3 salesmen to the store. Along the way, she sees Annie happily celebrating her birthday with her parents, though all she has to celebrate with is a piece of apple pie. She wonders why Annie is so happy with so little, but forgets about it upon entering the store. Blueberry goes on a buying spree and has it all delivered to her treehouse. During a lunch break, Blueberry sees Junior Asparagus' excitement over a new ball his dad bought for him and his disappointment that his dad could not afford the train. said he really wanted. Blueberry again wonders how someone can be happy with so little while she is not happy despite having everything she wants. Blueberry finally is thankful for what she has. The ongoing deliveries make the treehouse begin to fall backwards, which startles Madame Blueberry and her butlers. They, except for one, take carts and attempt to race to the house and stop the deliveries in time. They don't make it in time and the ongoing deliveries cause the back door to open and dump Madame Blueberry's possessions into the lake below. The sudden loss of weight causes the tree to fling the house into the air before it hits the ground in front of the stuff mart, where it collapses. Blueberry is comforted by the presence of her butlers, Annie, Jr., and the parents, and trusts that everything will turn out right in the end. Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed. Larry Boy and the Rumor Weed was originally released on July 27, 1999 by Word Entertainment. Percy P and Lilp leave a movie theater and are cornered by a shady character who asks them for a nickel. Percy refuses, but the scallion then demands the money he is carrying for milk money. As the milk money bandit escapes to the rooftops with his loot, he is cornered by Larry Boy, who shakes the stolen money off of the scallion and throws him into Officer Scooter's patrol car. Following this, Larry Boy is busy reviewing his capture technique with Alfred when he accidentally knocks an unfinished plant off the ledge. The plant gets caught on some wires on the way down, where a woman is gossiping on the phone, then falls into the sewers where the gossip brings the plant to life. The next morning, Alfred is speaking at the school and tells the teacher he needs to go home and recharge his batteries. Junior Asparagus and Laura Carrot take the figure of speech literally and jump to the false conclusion that Alfred is a robot. As they walk home, they encounter a small talking weed. Similar weeds begin to appear throughout town, spreading the rumor. Larry and Alfred are tending to a garden when Alfred heads inside to answer the phone. Another weed appears and tries to spread the rumor, but Larry does not listen. Alfred then calls Larry in. Mayor Blueberry informs him that strange weeds are growing all over the city and saying that the story about the fact that Alfred is a robot is a rumor. Suiting up as Larry Boy, he drives into action. Larry Boy manages to find a weed and attempts to shred it with a weed whacker, which malfunctions. Back at the Larry cave, Alfred discovers that all the weeds are connected to a mother weed underground. Upon arriving in the sewer, Larry Boy meets the mother weed and is quickly overpowered. Alfred learns the citizens are afraid of him, saying that he is a killer robot with laser eyes. Suddenly, the mother weed breaks free out from underground and snatches Alfred, but the citizens refuse to help. Dad Asparagus arrives and asks what is going on. The mother weed says that she heard the story from very reliable sources. Junior and Laura confess they took Alfred literally and started the rumor. Dad explains to them that, even if it's true, God doesn't want us to tell stories that can hurt. He wants us to spread nice words. Dad's words cause flowers to grow on the mother weed. Junior and Laura decide that the way to save Alfred is to spread good words about him. They convince the citizens that Alfred is not a robot. The mother weed continues sprouting flowers until she transforms into a giant flower.